about 3 minutes to go in this one, Spring, but the Avs currently hammering the Anaheim Ducks on the second leg of a back-to-back. It is 5-1 with 3 minutes to go in regulation. Colorado trailing in shots 27-24. Anaheim had legs today. Colorado looked as though early on in the second period, this might just be one of those second leg of a back-to-back scheduled losses, but they found it within them. A third period for the ages. Well, it doesn't disappoint today, does it, Mark Springer?
Well, no, it did not disappoint. But Raj, let me give you, as we are on here just a tick early, I'll drag this out just a touch because I want everybody to hear this live, okay? As I have one big takeaway from tonight's Avs game. There's really only one thing that you can take away from tonight's Avs game, Raj, and that is this. That is that Gabe Landeskog is washed as fuck. That dude's done. He's toast. The comeback, it was a good story. I enjoyed it. It was an admirable effort. But I think if we learned anything tonight, let's see, you know what, man? I think it just might be time to hang him up. It was a good run, Gabe. I blacked out in the third period, though. Did he score?
Yeah, he had a laser of a one-timer from Nathan MacKinnon.
An
absolute bomb.
Oh, he did score. Gabe Landeskog did. Yeah, no, I do remember it now. That was pretty sick. I mean, that was just what a little play from Nate. And then, I mean, there were some bombs all over the place. Bombs were dropping everywhere tonight. Natchez, Landeskog, they were out tonight.
It was just a straight up great game. They played a perfect road first period. Anaheim gave them everything they could handle in the second. They find a way to kill off a couple of early penalties in the first period of this game. They score a power play goal from Marty Natchez. Now, the rest of the power plays, probably a little bit more of the same of what we've seen this year, Spring. But that little mix of Nathan MacKinnon below the goal line, Marty Natchez up top, opens up the one-timer, a nice little skip pass across the diagonal for Brock Nelson. You get a couple of goals from Parker Kelly today, both of them coming on laser beams. But I mean, honestly, the power play looked good when you're able to move Nathan MacKinnon around wherever he wants to go, namely behind the goal line, to try and take a little bit of the pressure off of the top guys on the power play unit in terms of like the verticality of the power play, meaning at that point, Natchez and Cale Makar. A lot of units on the kill are pushing out heavily against Colorado and forcing them to play within 3 feet of the offensive blue line. When Nathan MacKinnon's below the dots, you have to worry about him, right? So it automatically makes you shrink down a little bit toward your own crease, and that allows Brock Nelson to make that skip pass. And Marty Natchez, what we saw in the Great Milan Power Play Summit of 2026, well, he brings it to the home stretch, certainly in this game.
Yeah, we got here in the chat. Second power play was a disaster. So, yeah, it started off slow, and I kept wondering, are they going to do that thing again? Are they going to move Natchez more high left and MacKinnon down low? They didn't do it at first, but then they kind of cycled in a way to set that up, and they set up a nice little give and go play. Natchez to MacKinnon down low, and that was the one shot on goal that they had on that power play, but it was MacKinnon kind of trying to stuff one in past Dostal close to net, as he was, now he's going more low left. So, I like the options that it presents, and maybe Nate is more comfortable in that role. I was kind of thinking tonight, have I been overrating Nathan MacKinnon as a one-time option on the left side? Is Natchez better at that? Does Natchez have a heavier, better shot than MacKinnon on the left side for one-timers?
He might. I don't know what the actual miles per hour for both of them are. Nate just feels a little bit more accurate than Nate does. And Nate has always felt better on the move. Like when Nate is actively skating, when he's shooting in stride, he's always felt more dangerous. Rather than the Nikita Kucherov one timer, or Mika Zibanejad, or another guy like Steven Stamkos, who's known for that one timer. Obviously, the greatest of all time is Alexander Ovechkin in that off wing spot as a right hander. Maybe he's better, and that's okay. And it kind of looked like Colorado started to move. The second power play, they went back to having Nate up top. And then it almost felt as though McKinnon on the third power play, which was better. It was the second best of the three power plays that they had tonight. It almost felt like McKinnon demanded that Nate just went back up. You can kind of see it on the ice. Nate started up top. They got a quick switch in. Nate went back down to below the short side dot, and then they got that box plus one rotation. They don't score on it, but they looked better than the second power play, and it did feel like Nate kind of made that change. He's like, well, it was very clearly successful the first time. They score awesome 5-on-5 goal. That one timer from Gabe Landeskog is a thing of beauty, and it's right the fuck on time with an asinine comment made on our competitor station for a guy who is the beating heart of this team. When he's not on the ice, they don't play the same way. We've seen it the same three postseasons where the Avs don't get out of the first or the second round since winning the cup. When he's in the lineup, they play with a little bit of fuck you, and he's scoring now, and he's playing north of 20 minutes a game, and he is a mainstay on your top line as well as your top power play unit. The guy's the biggest difference maker on the team, and that's saying something when you have a 30-goal scorer in Brock Nelson, a Conn Smythe winner in Cale Makar, and a Hart Trophy winner in Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah, it's a somewhat similar goal that Landeskog scored tonight to the one he scored last night in LA. And, you know, it's funny. We were praising Landeskog last night as one of their better players, and I could feel that coming with his performance against the Blackhawks. Felt like that was his first game back from the break where he looked more impactful on the top line, and he's very clearly now like he came out of the break on the top line, and that's where he's going to be, and it's where he was always trending to be, and it's where he should be. And yeah, he's such a good player, just such a good player. They need him. Like he was the key. He was my key to the season for them. They struggled without him when he broke his ribs. That's when they really started to struggle. So hey, man, I get it. It was an 8:30 game last night, and hey, you want to know what would be fun this segment to talk about the Avs? That'd be fun. Whoopsies, we didn't watch the game last night. Let me look at the stats. Let me look at the players' stats. Ooh, Gabe Landeskog only has 8 goals this season. That's concerning. I should talk about that because I didn't watch the game last night. But again, I get it. Dude, we got done at 12:30 last night. It is your job. And you make money. We have fun. I have fun with it.
It was just such a satisfying goal for him to score tonight. And they have 2 games now not 2 games. Their next 2 games are against Central Division opponents who are in the 2 and the 3 seed. And those are the Dallas Stars, who have now won a franchise high 10 straight hockey games. I think it's 6-1 is the final this evening, right? 6-1 is the final in Calgary. Now, the back-to-back that Dallas played from last night tonight is certainly easier than the back-to-back that Colorado had. LA playing without $42 million worth of players. That's an easy game. Tonight against Anaheim, a legit playoff contender with really good young talent, well coached from Joel Quenneville, is not the same as the back-to-back of Vancouver and Calgary, who are hoping for the Gavin McKenna sweepstakes at this point. Dallas motherfucks both those teams. And now we have a couple of days off. We have the trade deadline at 1 p.m. on Friday, and then at 6 p.m., the Avs take on the Dallas Stars on Friday night. They'll take on the Minnesota Wild the game after that on a Sunday or a Saturday matinee. And if you win both of those hockey games, Spring, the race for the top seed in the Central might be over this weekend.
Yeah, no, that's funny you mentioned the back-to-back that Dallas just had, Vancouver, Calgary. I was a little concerned about tonight's game going in, knowing that Lehkonen was out and that you played last night. Granted, you just had to take an Uber across town, so one of the more convenient back-to-backs you could have. I swear, there's something about getting on that plane, man. I hate planes. You get all cramped in those things, although they take very nice planes. But either way, and Anaheim's good. Dude, the young talent on the Ducks is just stupid.
They are built for the future, man. There's some young, exciting teams in the Pacific Division between San Jose and Anaheim.
Like, I always talk about Carlson, and then Cutter Gauthier has been great, and McTavish is a guy, and I never talk about Beckett Seneca, who he's also a third overall pick, and he's got 19 goals. What the heck?
Yeah, Seneca's legit. I think he leads all rookies in points.
What type of foursome is that? Like, what type of young forward foursome is that?
Dude, you haven't even mentioned the gold medalist on their team, Jackson Lacombe.
Sure.
Anaheim is, if Edmonton doesn't figure their shit out, and they had to come from behind again to win in overtime. They were down 4-2 to Ottawa. They win in overtime to get back into that race in the Pacific Division. If Edmonton doesn't figure it out and win real soon, San Jose and Anaheim are going to supplant them as the best or the second best team in the Pacific alongside Vegas. Those are young, hungry teams that are built through the draft and built the right way.
Yeah, I mean, what did Connor McDavid sign? That little 2-year extension?
Yep.
That's it. Because by the time that thing's up, Celebrini and what the Ducks have to offer are 2 years more advanced. You're done. Your Oilers window is closed. All caps closed. Lock and key destroyed, thrown away. So if the Oilers, and it's not looking good for them. It's not looking good. They're the 8th seed right now for a reason. That'd be like we talked about last night. That would kind of suck if the Avs had to face them in the first round, but there's a reason they're the 8th seed. They did come back and beat the Senators tonight. Ottawa was up 4-2 in the third as the Oilers can't stop allowing goals.
They have to score 5 goals a game.
Yeah, they have to score 5 goals a game to win. Avs allowed one. Scott Wedgwood, great tonight.
Fantastic, dude.
He had
a couple of blocker saves in the third.
Throughout. Because that Ducks team, they threatened. They threatened throughout, and Wedgwood had to sprawl and make some nice saves.
The save he makes on Seneca, and then Seneca kind of like keeps the puck out by himself, the one that goes up into the air. He makes a glove save. Now the game is over at that point with like a minute and a half to go. He makes a glove save on Veal right on the doorstep. A couple of excellent blocker saves that he made on grade A scoring opportunities inside the dots. It's showing you that I do think they have the best goaltending tandem in the league. The stats back it up. And if they just figure out a way to be, I've asked for 25% on the power play going into the postseason. If you get that type of goaltending, you don't even need 25%. You need like 20% on the power play, and you'll feel unbeatable. The goaltending is excellent.
When you're on the back-to-backs and you got a good backup who's fresh. Funny, start of the third period, Anaheim came out with a little head of steam for the first few minutes, and this was a 3-1 game, so it was still, in reach, and it's early in the third, and I'm thinking like, they played last night. Is this where the legs go a little bit? And then Wedgwood made a couple nice saves, and then the Avs were able to settle in a little bit, and Landeskog and Kelly scored. But I also find it interesting that, Blackwood got 3 straight starts here. So he's clearly being primed, but Wedgwood's making it tough. And now Blackwood will start against Dallas, who does not have Mikko Rantanen right now. He's going to be out a couple weeks, and he did not play tonight or last night.
Rantanen's been out since the return from the Olympics, man.
Okay,
they haven't missed a stride.
Sure, but they also haven't played the Avs, like you said, Vancouver, Calgary, and maybe they've had one decent opponent.
I mean, they've won 10 straight. I'm sure they've got a couple of good wins in there.
But now they're hosting the best team in the NHL without Mikko.
Dallas's 10-game win streak includes, well, St. Louis, crap. Vegas, good hockey team.
That's a
Utah,
good win. It's
playoff
a
hockey
good
team.
win.
Winnipeg, crap. St. Louis, crap. Seattle, wild card team, meh.
Well, kind of outpicking their coverage a little bit.
Nashville, meh. Vancouver, Calgary, crap.
Okay, so
good point.
Vegas was the best team they played. And then the second best team was, who did I just kind of give some credit to? That's how much of an impression they made on me. I mean, I'm in Nashville. They were okay. Utah. Oh, Utah number 2 then. Okay. Nothing crazy. Avs just beat Utah. Without Nathan McKinnon. And maybe the Stars did it without Mikko. I don't know if he played in that one. Either way, he won't play on Friday. And no Lehkonen. So the 2 Finns. And no Kiviranta. Holy crap. Curse of the Finns.
No Hints. No Rantanen. No Lehkonen. No Kiviranta. I believe Miro Heiskanen is healthy. Are there any other Finnish players out there? There's probably another couple of Finns on that Dallas team that are healthy right now, but lots of Finnish players will not be in the lineup on Friday. And that is typically a lot of dudes on the ice from that country between the Avs and the Stars. That's going to be a hell of a game, dude. It's going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah, it is. And it'll be so it's like it's the playoffs. It's Blackwood's in net, and he's who we expect in net game 1 of the first round. So Blackwood's in net on Friday. And depending on when they make a trade, if they make a trade Thursday at the latest, maybe that dude's playing on Friday.
Speaking of trades, did you see Adrian Dater a couple of hours ago tweeted that he's hearing through whatever channels he currently still has that Val Nichushkin, his name has been brought up, not just outside of the Avs, but as a actual trade chip that the Avs could be willing to part with come Friday.
Yeah, saw some people in the chat bring that up. I'd been thinking of Nichushkin's play of late because
I've enjoyed his play. He's just not scoring. Like, I thought he looked dangerous today.
He had one good shift where he had a couple looks. He's one of those players. You know how much I love the player Valeri Nichushkin. Like, I've always been so high on this guy, and just had one goal in January and no goals this month. Wow, that's because I talked about Malinsky and Nichushkin was the other one I wanted to look at, and that's like the same damn thing. And it's worse for Val because he's on your second line, and Malinsky's on your third D pair. It's a big difference.
I mean, if you're going to move on from him, like who's the target if you're moving on from that salary?
Now
is it Kadri? But like Nuke isn't a centerman.
That's what I was gonna say. Is because now are you getting a wing? Are you playing Kadri on the wing? Because you're
not getting Robert Thomas because Robert Thomas is going to Buffalo.
Okay, here's the thing about Nichushkin. Okay, and I need to pull up his contract again, but I know it's like just over $6 million. How many more years are left on it, though?
It's 6.125 million, I believe. 6.125. I want to say there's 3 more years remaining on the deal. That's off the top of my head. I believe that's it.
Yeah, the end of the 29-30 season.
Okay.
Is the last 2030. Okay. See, I've always loved that $6 million-ish cap. Like, that to me has always been a steal.
Yeah, and you were never paying Val Nichushkin for. You're not paying him $6.125 million to be a 35 goal scorer. That's not what you're paying him for. You're paying him $6.125 to be 6'4", 225 pounds, a good skater, can pot 20 goals a year, maybe a little bit north of that, but be a big-time playoff performer. And again, I know the past couple of playoff runs where he has not been in the lineup have been absolutely brutal, but you were paying him for 200-foot hockey. You were not paying him $6 million to be a goal scorer. You're paying him $6 million to be the most complete winger that you had on the team in terms of defensive effort, neutral zone forechecking. And I still think you get that. He hasn't been scoring. He hasn't been playing badly. He just hasn't been scoring.
Mm-hmm. He hasn't been as noticeable since the turn of the calendar. Since he scored a hat trick on New Year's Eve, he's scored 1 goal. And he's not McKinnon or even McKinnon's not a true pure goal scorer, but yeah, that's not Nichushkin. But it should be more. So I wonder, I don't know, man. Here's a couple things. And I love Nichushkin. I'd like to see him stay, but he's had some foot injuries in his career. Also, would there be a thought of have the waters settled? Because there was a time like 2 years ago where he was untradeable. But now it seems like that's past and you can trade him.
I mean, he's certainly tradable. He is certainly tradable.
Yes. So is there a sell now moment?
What do you mean? Like, you're nervous that you wouldn't be able to move him if you don't move him now?
I'm just saying, because look, it's all, and look, it's been a month and a half. It's been 2 months. It's been 2 months. The Chushkin, yeah, he looks fine out there. He does. I'm just saying, what if he is headed? I mean, how old is he? He's got to be 30 at least.
30. He's 30 on the nose. I don't in theory, see why they would move on from him. Like, moving on from him doesn't make much sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
He's doing what you signed him to do when he's on the ice. He's doing. His value is not in goal scoring. His value is not in goal scoring. And if you look at Val Nichushkin just from a goal scoring perspective, he was never worth $6.125 million. The most goals he's ever scored in his career in a single season was 28 when he scored that in 54 games back in 23-24. He's not a goal scorer. He's a 200-foot player who's a defensive stalwart and one of the best forecheckers in the league when he's in the lineup, and he can have timely goals, which is what you saw during the postseason run when the Avs won the Cup in 21-22.
Sure. Yeah. No, he's just on a cold streak. And is it just that? Probably. It's probably just a cold streak.
But like, again, I have to ask the question, if you're willing to move on from him, what's the target?
Yeah, no, there's absolutely that.
Are you so nervous that if you go out and you get a Naz Kadri,
Sidney Crosby?
There's no way. There's no Pittsburgh's in a playoff spot right now.
It would have to be something where you're like, oh no, that's an upgrade. And I don't see that on the market. I don't see an upgrade over Val Nichushkin on second line wing. I certainly don't.
Neither do I, man. Neither do I. Like, unless you're guaranteeing that you're getting Nazem Kadri here and Calgary is not going to retain salary and you want that to happen, the only way that you can make that happen and still be able to sign Cale Makar to his extension is moving away from Val Nichushkin's contract. But it hurts you in the here and now. You are in a win now mode. It's not win now or never, but it is win now and into the future. So I understand that, like, he's been underperforming from a scoring perspective over the course of his last 20 games, right? 1 goal in his last 20 games is not enough. But it doesn't help you. Like, you don't get better moving on from Val Nichushkin. You don't.
No,
unless there's a trade out there that I just can't see.
Unless there's something weird, like with his body, and I don't think that's the case. Like, there's no signs that point to anything that, like, oh, he's not going to just bounce right back and he won't have a week where he scores 3 goals. He's 30. He's playing. He seems fine. He's not as noticeable as he was in the first part of the season, but he's always very, when you're 6'4" and you skate well, you're always noticeable, but it hasn't been as impactful this year. Think you somewhat have no choice but to just chalk that up to just a little bit of a cold streak.
I wouldn't
trade him. I wouldn't. I'm not saying I would.
like I've seen St. Louis very, very
Rob
heavily
Thomas?
rumored around the mill right now. Robert Thomas is likely going to Buffalo. That's been the big rumor today that I believe Elliot Friedman and Chris Johnston were talking about. But if that move happens and Jordan Bennington's name is still thrown around, he's got a 14 team no trade clause. Jordan Kyrou is also a guy that you could look at. Now, if you want to trade Val Nichushkin to St. Louis for Jordan Kyrou, I can get on board for that.
You could. I don't know. I don't know why St. Louis. It's a weird trade piece.
But again, I'm not moving away from him. I'm not saying that Dater's wrong. I believe that Dater
I do think
has
everything's on the
heard
table
from
right
someone that
now.
they're like, everything is on the table. With Chris McFarland, anytime that you can upgrade, sure, he's a piece that you could move on from. I don't see how it makes you better. When he's playing well and when he's scoring, you said it 10 minutes ago. The contract is a bargain when he's scoring. When he's not scoring, the contract is of requisite value.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was because just until the past, it's really been a month and a half with the like 3-week break they took. Until then, Valeri Nichushkin week in and week out was just an absolute steal. And that's going back to when he signed that thing, which was back in 2022, the year they won, or the year after the summer right after they won the cup. They signed him to this deal at 6.125, and it was an amazing contract back then because the cap was a little tighter, and every year as it expands, it gets even better. If he continues playing at that clip, it gets even more valuable every year. So barring some sort of like his feet bones have deteriorated because of all the surgeries he's had at 30 years old, it would be weird. But barring something like that, you can't trade the guy.
No, you can't. It makes you worse. It does not help you win a cup unless there is some weird upgrade out there that I just simply don't see. And there's a possibility that could happen, right? No one saw Mikko Rantanen actually being traded, and Mikko was traded last year not once but twice. So crazy things happen in this league. I don't think Val gets moved. I think there's a greater chance that Ross Colton is the piece that has to move out if you need to bring in a guy like Kadri. They're going to swing, right? $10 million is a lot of space. I don't think they bring in too many players with a lot of term. I'm nervous it's going to be a sleepy deadline. Now, there was a trade today. Michael McCarron goes from Nashville to Minnesota. Big 6'6" forward. McCarron doesn't really do much for me outside of a big body on the forecheck. He is a bottom six type of player. That's the most recent trade that we've seen.
I'm glad you brought that one up though, because, and I talked about this on the Blitz. Not a huge move, but Nashville's lost a couple in a row, now 3 in a row. They lose in Columbus tonight. They made the McCarron move just before that game, but then they go ahead and lose their third straight. It's a good sign then. Like, that's now evidence that a guy like O'Reilly is more likely to get moved, whether it's Colorado. Like, that to me is like the first domino. Michael McCarron's the first domino, and maybe Nashville just opens those floodgates, as they should. And O'Reilly's the guy I want.
O'Reilly should be the fit here. He really should be the fit as your third center. And then I don't worry about Ross Colton or Val Nichushkin not scoring as much. Because again, you don't really have to move either one of those two players to get Ryan O'Reilly here. You don't. You have to move a first round draft pick and either a current NHL player or a prospect, whether it's Gavin Brindley or Gulyayev. Nashville doesn't really need a goaltending prospect, but do you believe in the future longevity of UC Saros, right? Like his 7-year deal, I don't think he has played up to expectation at this point. Would they want a Russian goaltender on a cheap rookie deal? Maybe. That could possibly be a thing. You wouldn't have to give up big time players to get Ryan O'Reilly here, Mark Springer. So you could find a way. You could find a way to get him here and keep those players. And then it makes me feel better about Colton and Nichushkin not scoring, because you know who will? Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah. And I mean, he would make the third line. It would raise the level of Ross Colton. Maybe Parker Kelly. Does he stick on the third line at this point? Because, dude, at what point is it not really a fluke? At what point is it? What a fun little story to watch this year. Parker Kelly just turning into a really reliable, at the very least reliable bottom six dude. And I don't know, he's starting to get a little bit of a goal scoring touch to him. I mean, this is 15 now, and a handful of them have looked really nice. Like, not these kind of maybe more fluky ones. Like, no, they've had some sauce on them. That dude needs that's a bottom six guy for years to come. Like, maybe that, they thought Miles would be that. Maybe it's Parker Kelly. Like a Logan O'Connor. He's your next OC, different type of player, but some similarities. Parker Kelly just looks great.
I see a couple of people in chat saying that they would trade Val for Elias Pettersson. In no world do I want Elias Pettersson anywhere near this hockey team. At $11.6 million, which the Elias Pettersson contract is
that's an abomination.
Worst contract in the league, period. I don't want that guy anywhere near this team, right? The two things that the Avs have had going against them for a couple of years are they're not physical enough. They're not willing to do the hard shit that other teams are willing to do. Like Dallas or like Florida the past couple of years, they're not gritty enough. Elias Pettersson is the definition of not gritty, and he's $11.6 million against the cap. He doesn't fit here. I don't want him anywhere near Colorado. That is not your guy.
Yeah, he's untradeable at that number. I think Vancouver's just going to kind of be stuck for however long that thing runs for. I assume there's quite a few years left on it. I don't even want to pull it up right now because it's actually making me cringe how bad that contract is. Ooh. Yeah. No,
Elias Pettersson's contract, $11.6 million, runs through the year 30-32.
Oh, no.
32.
That's whatever the Summer Olympics after. That's 2 World Cups. How many World Cups from now?
The NHL will have gone through another Olympic period in Paris in 2030.
And that contract will still have 2 more years on it.
Yep.
And
11.
He'll still be a Canuck then. He will still be a Canuck.
Wow, what a deal from Paprasson, man. Good for you.
That's how they're going to be the worst team in the league they're going to have to eat it for a little bit.
I mean, the only way that you can do it is a buyout. It's the only way that you can find a way is to buy Elias Pettersson out, or someone thinks they can fix him. Or if he puts up 100-point season next year, you go, all right, we're going to trade you now. We're going to trade you for something.
Yeah.
That ain't getting any better, man.
Hey, take advantage of your Canucks games in years to come. Poor Zeev Buium. Gavin Brindley. I think if it's O'Reilly, if that's what it takes, or if someone good, if you gotta do it. You gotta part with Gavin Brindley. Even though, in theory, this guy's under $1 million, or just right around $1 million for the next couple of years, which is pretty nice, and he should get better. But if that's what it takes, I think you have to do it.
So what was that trade again? That was Gavin Brindley, a 3rd-round pick, a conditional 2nd-round pick for Charlie Coyle and Miles Wood. If that turns into 3rd-round pick, conditional 2nd, and the trade ship that you want in return is your 3rd center for Miles Wood and Charlie Coyle, do it. I like Gavin Brindley. You guys know me. I like
Yeah.
a small player who isn't afraid to go into the shitty areas of the ice and plays 200 feet and has skill. I think Gavin Brindley, he's not Logan Stankoven, but I think he could be if everything goes his way and he puts on a few pounds. He could be a Logan Stankoven type guy. I still think Stankoven has way higher scoring upside than Brindley does. Um, he is open for trade in my book if it brings in a legit third center for this team, without a doubt. Without a
Yeah,
doubt.
just of anyone on the roster, like yes, I understand Colton and his $4 million, but they don't need to clear cap space for a lot of these moves unless it goes into
Right.
years beyond. Because
And
they
they can
have
always do that in the offseason.
that too. That too. So of everyone on the roster who you would make sense to trade, um, but also that other teams would have interest in, Brindley might be number one on the list, actually.
Because of youth, upside, and
Yes.
most important, contract.
Yeah. If I'm another GM, I might be like, yeah, I want Ross Colton. But honestly, these are teams that are rebuilding. So Brindley's actually even more attractive because of where he's at in his career and how he could grow with, your rebuilding core. So yeah, of anyone on the roster, I would actually put Gavin Brindley as the most likely to get traded.
I'm still expecting them to find a way to get another defenseman in the fold, but I don't think it's going to be like a household name because
No, I think it's going
they're
to be
the
a seventh
defenseman.
guy.
Yeah, the defenseman that you see on the ice right now, that's your playoff lineup. Those are your playoff six right now. It is McCarr and Taves. It is Burns and Manson. It is Malinsky and Brett Kulak. And you can mix and match any one of those players that you really want. So I don't think that they would go out and make a deal for like a Jamie Alexiak at $4 million, even though he's an expiring contract, because you're not going to carry seven defensemen too many times in a playoff game, right? So it'd be a little weird to give up like a third rounder or a prospect for a $4 million defenseman and have him scratched like 75% of the game. I think they're going to make a move for a D-man, but I think it's going to be someone who we go, huh? Who's that guy? Who? It's going to be like a 1.5 or a $2 million D-man. I'll continue to take a look around as to who that could be. I don't think it's going to be a name that a lot of people know, but I do think they're going to try and add one more piece on
Yeah,
the
it's going to be
backside.
like an upgrade of Ilya Solovyov. Whatever a better version of him is something that they could acquire and is probably an area of need. Um, just better safe than sorry. Granted, if Kale gets hurt, you're done. If Taves gets hurt, you're done. But those are probably the only two that you're like done. And speaking of the defenseman, man, I'm thinking about how washed Gabe Landeskog is tonight. And I'm also watching Brent Burns play. And I'm just thinking, like, you know what, man? How cool is it that he can still go at 40? Like, just lapping Gabe Landeskog, who is washed. And Brent Burns is not washed. He can still go. Love that move. I mean, it's going to come in. It felt like did it not feel like the Avs were back tonight? Did it not feel like this was the first game in, man, since like mid-January where it was like, oh no, that's them.
It was
Got me feeling
3
good.
full periods of 5-on-5 dominance with a 12-minute stretch that you went, oh shit, Anaheim's got it. And they relied on solid goaltending. They relied on 33% on the power play. They relied on excellent neutral zone play. They looked like the Avs of October, November, and December, where it was like, oh, second leg of a back-to-back against a playoff team. Not only are they fine, they're going to shit kick the team. Like, it's nuts. That Anaheim's a really, really good hockey team.
Like
and
you
they beat them
mentioned,
5-1 on tired ass legs.
You mentioned the some odd minutes that, Anaheim was dangerous. Yeah, is on their ice. Avs played last night. They're a very good young team. Yeah, they were going to have moments tonight. 6-1. 6-1. And man, if you listen last night, hell, you watched the game last night, watch that third period, you really could feel it coming because that was the best period they had played in some time, that third period last night. And it didn't look fluky. They built on it. Now they're going to make an acquisition. I think that it just naturally, their body clocks, their circadian rhythms, they just clicked when March started. They were just like, they kind of woke up from hibernation because they had such a big lead in the Central. And then they realized they were like, oh, we should start trying again. And they've done just that. And now what? They can get a 8-point cushion on Dallas.
I'm telling you, if you beat both Dallas and Minnesota, so Dallas on the road and then Minnesota at home on the weekend matinee, the Central Division #1 seed is locked up. You will not lose it. There will be too much space between you, too much space.
And there was a little window because, like, going into the Olympic break, weren't playing their best.
Yeah, they're around a 500 hockey lineup.
Came back from the break, and it's funny, they've only lost one. But I don't know. Until the third period last night, I didn't feel that true Avalanche hockey. And they blew it. They blew their window. Or, I mean, at least if they play like they did tonight going forward, that window's done. I mean, that window's closed.
Winnipeg's out of its spring. This is a bigger name than I thought. I'm looking at teams that I know are sellers and have old, beefy defensemen with expiring contracts. If this player had to play more than 8 minutes a night for me and had to play 20 games in the postseason, I would not trade for him. But he doesn't need to play that many games, and he doesn't need to play that many minutes. I would trade for Luke Schenn. Luke Schenn can be my 7th defenseman, and I'll give you a couple of 4th rounders for him.
There you go. And you know what? It's going to be a name just like that. That's what it's going to be.
And he'll step in 2 games a series, maybe. I would really enjoy. Luke Schenn would be what and I love EJ. Like, sometimes EJ listens to the show, and I hope he doesn't take this the wrong way. Luke Schenn would be a better version of what Erik Johnson was in his final season with the Avalanche when he came back over in that late trade, where, like, you just saw EJ's legs were gone. Schenn's legs aren't gone yet, but they're getting real close. And I think Schenn's got a little bit more in the tank than EJ did in those final games of his career. He would bring the same type of player, right? Luke Schenn is a bigger guy, right-handed shot, a former top prospect. What is he? 6'2", 230. He's been a captain in this league. He'd be a really fun guy. And does Luke Schenn have a cup? Braden does.
I don't know. I do not know. But yeah, and I think that's a compliment to Erik Johnson because
Luke Schenn has 2 cups.
Look, EJ that last season of his. What did he start on? It was Buffalo, Philly. I can't remember which order, but he went to both those teams that year, right? And then or maybe he just moved to one of those teams from the year before, but maybe it was Philly, but he barely played. He was barely playing for them.
Erik Johnson in 24-25 played for Philly and Colorado. He played for Buffalo and Philly the year prior to that.
Okay, traded back-to-back deadlines.
Yes.
And it feels like that. So then the Philly year before he goes to Colorado, I don't think dude was playing much at all.
No, he wasn't. Like, Erik knew who he was at that point, right? And
and it was kind of impressive that he came when he got like a little bit of a spark. Like, it sparked him for a few weeks.
Yeah, there were a few games where you're like, oh shit, like, that's the Erik Johnson I know. Like, it looks a little different, but like I recognize that type of player. Yeah. I think Schenn can have a little bit more of that. And he's not going to cost, like, if they move on from Logan Stanley, who's having a good year, but I still think is like a very flawed defenseman, big dude, but very flawed, that he's going to cost like a 1st round pick or a 2nd with a condition and a prospect. I don't think Schenn's going to cost that much.
That's a really good 7D. I mean, if that's your 7D, then you're feeling so long as it's not one of the top two, uh, you got a solid fill in.
Edible cap hit 2.75.
And is he up after this year? You said
Yep.
expiring? Yep. Yeah. All easy. Easy. And you got plenty of room for that. That plus, if it was Kadri, you still have the space. That's the thing. They have the space right now for the next, until the end of this season and even a little bit into next season. They have space. It's just when Kale signs on the dotted line, oh, what a goal. We haven't really talked about his goal.
Oh, man. Oh, what? That's such a Cale Makar coded goal, dude. That little freaking hip swivel that he throws on the short side hash mark that Dostal, everyone in the building thought he was firing that puck when he fired his hip. He activated his glutes like he's Tiger freaking Woods, and Dostal lunges for the puck with his glove, and he's like, oh shit, the puck's still not coming. What a great move from him.
Well, and he kind of makes the entire play, starting on the other side of the net, kind of wrapping around and is able to regather his own puck. And yeah, the hesitation. And as soon as he scored that, because he had 2 goals against the Blackhawks on Saturday. So that's now, 3 goals in 3 games. And, we'd seen Werenski had taken over as the favorite to win the Norris, which is fine. We all know who the best defenseman in the world is. We all know. It's like Cale can go through weaker statistical stretches, from, points, a scoring and assist perspective, but no, you know who the best defenseman in the world is. Everyone does. You're lying if you don't to yourself. But seeing what he did against the Blackhawks on Saturday and then seeing that goal, my first thought when he scored it, heating up. And I loved it. Mosier right after that said in his goal call, he's heating up. Like it was just you could just feel like, oh, he's heating up. So you can watch for that down the stretch. If he heats up, because he has not been on his A game. He's looked like his A game the last 3 games.
Which is so funny because he's a point per game player as a defenseman. And he's plus 34. Like I thought that pairing defended really well today against a very talented young offensive core from Anaheim. And in particular, Devon Taves, his one-on-one defending was elite tonight. Killed a couple of plays on one-on-one when he was behind the play, had to get up on his pony. Good active stick, pucks to cold areas of the ice in his own defensive zone. They were really good killing plays and even better on the offensive side. Yeah, he's having a down season, right, Cale Makar, because he's not hitting the net and he's not scoring as much, but he's got 18 goals. He's got 64 points. He is 1 point behind Zach Werenski for second among defensive scorers and only 7 points behind Evan Bouchard. And Bouchard's played 2 more games than he has. Like I said, it was kind of out of the question that he wasn't going to catch Bouchard. He could. He's got to get red hot, but he could catch him.
Yeah, no, you're right. He's played well all season, but then you can also tell when he's on that elite level. You can see it with Nate. You can see it with Cale. Those stretches, extended stretches they go on where it's just different. And past 3 games has looked like that for Cale. And I thought he was Canada's best player in the gold medal game. I did, especially in that second period. I thought Cale in that second period was everywhere. Drew that tripping penalty that led to the 5-on-3 that, yes, Canada did not score on. I thought Cale played well on that 5-on-3, but then he obviously does get the game tying goal. I was wondering if that was going to spark him coming out of that, because I thought, especially that second period, he was the best player. And
yeah, it's a shame for him because he gets crucified for a bad step and a lackadaisical back check in the 3-on-3 when he was trying to make an all-out play. And like, if Werenski doesn't get that little chip past him and Hughes doesn't make that I think it was Hughes that makes that unbelievable backhand chip around him, Makar steps into it and one touches a pass to Connor McDavid on the doorstep, and the Canadians win the gold. Like, it was a do or die play for both the Americans and the Canadians.
I thought it was a risk we're taking. I thought the puck had lacked juice on it, and I think Cale, it's a gutsy decision, but I liked it. He can make that steal. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that, you think of just the two big highlights, Boldy's goal and the game winner. Kale's involved in both, but overall, I thought he had a great game, and he's looked excellent here, certainly tonight and the last 3 games overall.
For sure. I thought he was excellent this evening on both sides of the ice. That's a great win for Colorado as they improve to a shocking 91 points through 60 games. They are 41, 10, and 9. Their goal differential is plus 81. Plus 81 is ridiculous. Yeah, a win against Dallas, man, on Friday night, and then a win against Minnesota over the weekend. And I think you can go number 1 seed's yours. So I think we have our grocery list, Spring. You and I are both in love with Ryan O'Reilly at $4.5 million for 2 more years. I've talked myself into Luke Shen if he is available there. It should be a great hockey game against Dallas, even without Mikko Rantanen. Roope Hintz might play. He was placed on IR with illness, but there's a possibility that he could come back and play. It's going to be really tough to go into American Airlines Arena and win a game against a team that is, like, I hate to say it, they are as deserving of winning a Stanley Cup this year as the Colorado Avalanche are. It's going to be so much fun to watch on Friday night. I hope they get it done. I think they can get it done.
Oh, now they're playing their best hockey.
Yep.
They're coming off their best performance. Like, what great timing to play your best game in like a month and a half. And then you've got your biggest rivals in their building the following game. That's good timing.
All right, Spring. I think that's it for tonight, right?
That's it, man. I think we covered it all.
I think we covered it all. It's going to do it for Spring. I'm Raj. Avs win 5-1. They sweep the back-to-back. We will be back at it on Friday evening. The Avs take on the Dallas Stars. I believe it's at 6 p.m., right? Yeah, 6 p.m. Mountain on Friday night. So Spring and I will be on the air around 9 p.m. or so. And it will not only be a recap of the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche, but it will be a trade deadline version of Between the Pipes. If something crazy happens tomorrow or the next day or early on Friday, Spring and I will, like, let's say they trade for fucking Ryan O'Reilly. Spring and I will be on here as soon as humanly possible to talk about it with you guys. I can promise you that. But if nothing happens until Friday, we'll see you guys then. Later.